Hello, everyone. Welcome to week two, or week three, actually, of the NFL Pickems here. Another crazy week here of games. Another potential. We had another overtime game. Hectic stuff going in Las Vegas, and we had some other games. Teams that showed up, teams that didn't show up, teams that were okay. Now they're seeing possibly, potentially Super Bowl contenders, and others that are okay. Maybe they're just dead. But let's get right into it. We have another three-way tie for first. We have Dan Bennett, Jamie Gore, and Kelpie G, ESPN's Pick'em, Big Boss Man's 25, and Alpha Academy are 19 and 12 so far this year. Then we have a two-way tie for fourth, which is the Pef, Austin Peffer, and Mama Pef. Self-explanatory. 18 and 13. Then there's a two-way tie for sixth with more cowbells, Alex Hess, and me. I had a horrible week for picks, but 17 and 4 is the record for both me and Alex. Then from there, Nico had 16 and 15. Joe, which is a friend of our Connor, which is our friend Zach's brother, he's 16 and 15. Chris Lentz, his friend, 16 and 15, followed by Juck Crispies. He's 12 and 19, and bring up the rear is Joe Fleer, who decided not to show the fuck up for week 2, just like his brother every goddamn year. So, we're going to get right into the picks here. I have here on Thursday Night Football, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers going to Cleveland to play the both 1-1 records so far this year. I am actually thinking about this long and hard. We saw during the Pittsburgh game, halfway through the game, literally during the third quarter, that the fans were booing the offense, booing Mitch, chanting, Kenny, Kenny. They wanted Kenny Pickett, but obviously the organization doesn't give a shit what the fans want. But we'll see what happens this week. If I have the feeling that if Mitch has a shit game, does at least a turnover of some kind, he's getting benched and Kenny's going in. Or after this game, win or lose, Kenny starts at home against the Jets. But knowing this, as of right now, I'm leaning towards an upset in terms of the percentages here on the Pigskins. I'm leaning towards Cleveland to win this one, only for the fact they have a better offensive line than the Steelers. Their defense is technically more healthy, excluding the ones who are already out. Like Jadeveon Clowney's out this week. He hasn't done fucking shit since he's been in the league since he left Houston. So, he hasn't done shit. Myles Garrett is going to be the key factor for this Cleveland Browns defense. If he can get at Mitch, it's over. The Browns are going to win this game. And the Browns have I would think, the better running backs, the better offensive weapons, a better defense right now compared to the Steelers. It should be not a cakewalk, but it should be somewhat of a easier win for the Browns as long as they don't get too ahead of themselves and have their heads up their asses. Then we go into the Sunday 1 o'clock games. We have the Houston Texans, the 0-1-1 Texans, going against the 1-1 Chicago Bears. I'm leaning towards the Chicago Bears in this. I have seen a little bit of, quote, good enough play by Justin Fields to know he is their guy. He just happens to be around a very, very young team. They are. And they haven't helped him in the last 2 years in the draft, getting him weapons that he needs. But they showed a lot of promise in their week 1. They beat the Niners in a monsoon. Then they played Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau on Sunday Night Football, which basically means, thanks for fucking playing. Aaron's going to bend you over and give it to you. In this game, I'm leaning towards the Bears. The Bears have the better offensive output in terms of this game. The Texans, straight garbage. One of the worst, if not, I think, the second worst team in the NFL due to expectations. The Bears should win this one. If the Bears lose this, I don't know what the heck. The season's freaking out of control. This is goddamn nuts. Then we have the Las Vegas Raiders going to Tennessee. Both teams 0-2. Not a lot of people expected maybe the Raiders to be 0-2 to start the year. Maybe, 1-1. I didn't expect them to be 2-0 to start the year. I expected maybe 1-1. I didn't expect the Titans to go 0-2 to start the year. I thought they would be 1-1 as well. I expected them to lose against Buffalo. I didn't expect them to lose week 1 of the season to the goddamn Jets. But it is what it is. I'm picking slightly here the Raiders to win. The Raiders should have beat the Cardinals. They had the game. They had the game going into halftime. They were up by 20 points. It was basically, thanks for coming in, here's a participation trophy. They had that. And then Kyler Murray decided to go, okay, I got to stop playing video games for Faz and actually play NFL football. Goes out there, wins the game. Raiders, I expect to play a lot better this week. Raiders are not going to, I expect them not to get their heads in their asses for this. If you let up and Derrick Henry goes off, you're going to regret it because he's not going to stop. They got to do what everyone's been doing. In the box, 8-man, force them to throw the ball and have your DBs cover. If Derrick Henry gets going, it's over. He is not going to stop. You can't stop him once he gets going. Raiders, you should win this one. Then we have the Kansas City Chiefs going into the, I think the worst team in the NFL, the shitty Indianapolis Colts. Colts, garbage. Everyone expected them maybe to be a contender for their division this year. Heck, no one except the fucking Jags decided to wake up in that division. I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win this one. The Chiefs should go in there, literally bend them over and show them how it's done. Pat Mahomes is going to probably, I'm guessing with that defense he's playing against, 5 touchdowns again. I'm assuming 5. Hell, might go for 8 against this defense. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs should win this one. If they lose this one, again, I don't know what to say. The NFL season's out of control. Then we have the matchup, which I think is going to be, it should be game of the weekend. We have the Buffalo Bills, the 2-0 after basically beating the ever-living dog shit out of the Titans, playing against the Dolphins, who pulled off one of the greatest comebacks I have ever seen in the modern era. Being down by 21 plus, going into the second half, or actually going into the end of the third quarter, Tua became literally Dan Marino incarnate and freaking came back to win the game. Unbelievable by Tua. Not a lot of people expected that out of him, especially being down that point. They thought they were just going to pack it in and go home, basically. They went into Baltimore in a 21-point deficit, which is hard to do, and beat them. I know a lot of Dolphins fans. Hell, I live with one. He thought Tua was fucking garbage going into that third quarter. Then all of a sudden he became godlike, and then goes, you know what? He ain't that bad for this game. We'll see what happens this game. I'm expecting the Bills to win. I'm expecting them to. They've just been utterly dominating people. They are averaging over 35 points a game. Dolphins, it just has to be that game. They have to get everyone going. They have the weapons on offense. I just don't think they're going to have the consistency on offense to match pound for pound the Buffalo Bills. And their defense, I don't know if they're going to be able to stop like certain like Stephon Diggs, Singletary, and these other weapons that they have. I just don't think they're going to be able to. Bills should win this one, go 3-0 in the division. Or 3-1 on the year, my bad. Then we have the matchup, which I think is potentially a upset alert. Detroit Lions playing against the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota got the 11 dog shit beaten out of them last night at Monday Night Football by the Eagles, who I think now are saying that they're a Super Bowl contender. And I'm a Pittsburgh fan, and I love the Eagles whenever they're not playing Pittsburgh, but I didn't expect them to start 2-0 to start the year. I did not expect that. With that offense, what they were projected, their defense, what it was from last year, I was expecting, maybe 1-1. I didn't expect 2-0 to start the year. Good for them so far. It's still early in the year. We'll see what happens when they go up against the Buffalo Bills of the world, we'll say. But this game, it's very iffy. I am thinking, after that showing, we've seen Detroit. Detroit's been averaging over 35 points a game. Over 35. That is unbelievable from this team that was been the laughingstock before the Browns came along and decided to become the laughingstock. Now it's the freaking Colts and the Jets. And Texans now. But I'm thinking, as an upset, if you want to be smart and go with the upset here, you go with Detroit. Detroit has been consistent in terms of their offense. Their offense is hell of a lot better than it has been in the last 2 years. They have that culture now in Detroit. there's a movement going on there that they know that they can win these games. They don't go in there praying that they're going to win. They actually could go in there and win these games. Amon St. Brown, one of the best wide receivers in the league right now, is just doing what he did at the end of last year, carrying forward, doing what he has to do to get this team in position to win. With that said, for right now, I am going with the Detroit Lions. I need to see the report of the injury up until that game time. If the injury report tells me something different, I might switch. We'll have to see. I'm allowed, I say it to my buddies all the time, I get one game time decision for picks a week, and I use it to my advantage. Sometimes it fails. It's been failing the last 2 weeks, but I think maybe it's going to be a turnaround this week. Then we have the Baltimore Ravens playing against the New England Patriots. Now, New England has never gone 0-2 to start the year since 2001. That would have been about 20 years. They beat the Steelers. Don't get me wrong. They beat the Steelers. Pittsburgh hasn't beat the Patriots in the regular season since who knows how fucking long. Hell, not even the playoffs. But now they play the Ravens, who are coming off a very, very distraught loss to the Miami Dolphins. I expect that whole organization in the Baltimore to be a handful of pissed off players going out there and want to beat the shit out of some players in New England. Ravens, if you want to have a bounce back game, you go into Foxborough and you put on the frickin' show. Let Lamar show the league why he deserves to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in this league. Let him do what his thing is. Get touchdowns. Don't blow a 21-point lead again, for the love of Christ. Please. And just win the game. Ravens, I'm picking you to win. Don't let me down. And that's coming from a Steeler fan, which I hate the Ravens to my fucking heart and soul. Then we have the Cincinnati Bengals playing against the Jets. Jets 1-1 on the year. Right where I thought they would be, either 0-2 or 1-1. I didn't expect much from them. Didn't expect them to win against the frickin' Browns. They should have lost that game, but the Browns decided, and Nick Chubb going, I'm just going to score a touchdown here. They can't win. Joe Flacco says, fuck you, I still own you. Wins the game. Then we have the 0-2 Bengals, which, after that supposed revamped offensive line, still looks like garbage to me. I don't know about what everyone else is seeing, but I'm seeing garbage offensive line. Obviously, they might be still hung over on their Super Bowl right now that they went to. Obviously didn't win, but maybe they're still hung up on it that, we went to the Super Bowl. Yay. But realize, if you don't start winning games, everyone's going to call that a fluke season. Hell, right now, I'm calling it a fluke season that you guys shouldn't have went to the Super Bowl. And it's proven it right now with your freaking play right now. It's unbelievable. I'm probably going to regret doing this. I'm picking the Bengals to win this game. Bengals, if you don't beat the Jets with Joe Flacco as their quarterback, just get the hell out of the league. Just get the hell out. Hell, I'll buy the organization and run it fucking right. Bengals win this game for the love of Christ. Then we have the 1 o'clock game, which I think is going to be an absolute slaughter. Philadelphia Eagles going to Washington to play the Commanders. Philadelphia, 2-0. Good starts of the year. 38 points in their first game. Mid-20s in their next game. Doing what they have to do. Doing what they have to do to win games. Their defense is playing, compared to the first game, playing on a level I have not seen in a while from a defense from the Eagles since their Super Bowl days. Since the Super Bowl they had in 2016 or 18, I think it was. They've been on a tear right now. Darius Slay, looking like a potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Just Jalen Hurts, Offensive Player of the Year possibly. We'll see what happens. A.J. Brown definitely has helped that offense in terms of him getting there. Devontae Smith had a good game. We'll have to see how it goes. The running backs are starting to get going. We'll have to see what happens. I'm expecting them to have a good year. I had them going, in my opinion, before the season started. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl in terms of if everything comes together. If they could get the offensive going and the defense going, this team could make the Super Bowl. They're showing it right now. As long as they keep going like this, eventually they're going to lose. But as long as they keep winning and doing what they have to do, who's going to doubt them not going to the Super Bowl? Eagles should win this one. Then we have the New Orleans Saints playing against the Panthers. Panthers 0-2 with Baker Mayfield. No one expected them to be 0-2 with Baker. It seems like Baker is the equivalent to Sam Darnold. You don't know which one's which. Losing to his former team in the Browns in Week 1 by a horrible loss, a game-winning field goal, just for him to get his butt kicked next week against the following week against the Giants. It is, again, it's abysmal to me what that happened. I don't know what's going on in Carolina. But the Saints win the Week 1. Okay. Pretty good. You play the Falcons, who are garbage, but, you play the Falcons. Then you go play against old man Brady, who has quoted before that game, never beaten you, Saints, in the regular season since he's been there in Tampa Bay. Guess he decided to wake up and actually wanted to beat you guys and actually go out there and win. He actually won a game against you. What are you going to do now? How are you going to rebound? I'm picking you guys to win this one. I'm not very confident in it because I know how your defense is. Especially now, we don't even know if Lattimore's suspended. We know Mike Evans is suspended for that fight. But I haven't heard anything about Lattimore. I think Lattimore is probably going to get something. He's probably going to get a fine or something. But if he gets suspended as well, this makes the pick very, very interesting. But I'm going with the Saints for right now. Might switch this game. Then we have the star of the 4 o'clock games. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars going to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. Jacksonville, pretty good so far. For Week 1, okay, they should have won that game against the Commanders. Ended up losing. It is what it is. Go in at home against the Colts and beat the living dog shit out of them. Getting up literally no points. Put up a fucking goose egg on their team. Holy crap. And then Chargers, Week 1, okay, you beat your rival in the Raiders. Then you go play another rival in Kansas City. Almost could have won that game. But then your quarterback ends up fracturing his ribs. Now, we don't know if Herbert's going to play this game. I don't expect him to. The only way I expect him to is if they drug him up and so that he doesn't feel the pain in his ribs and cushion as much on that right side of him as possible. We'll see what happens. I'm picking right now the Chargers to win that game, even with a backup, because I expect them to use the run game a lot more. But Jacksonville could pull this upset off. Do not doubt the Jags in the possible upset. They have been close in 2 games this year, excluding the Colts game where they beat the dog shit out of them. But they could have literally won against the Commanders, who are, I think, one of the worst teams in the NFL on paper. So they could be 2-0 right now. Just saying, they could be 2-0. We'll see what happens after this week. They should be 1-2, but if they go 2-1, don't be surprised. Then you have the Los Angeles Rams playing against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals to lose this game. I do not think they're going to win. I think that last game against the Raiders this past Sunday was a very emotional win for them. Very emotional. They were not supposed to win that game. Come back from 20 points down, go into overtime, and get 2 straight plays, no joking, 2 straight plays of Hunter Renfrow fumbling. They didn't get the first one, but they got the second one. That was all that one that mattered. And they won the game. It was close at the very end. They were reviewing that touchdown because it looked like we had the Deshaun Jackson incident where the returner dropped the ball or let go of the ball before he actually was completely in the end zone. Luckily, he was in, but he might be careful of that because that's going to cost him if he does that again and he's early in the end zone and doesn't let go of the ball before he's in. I'm thinking the Rams will win this one. Cooper Kupp on another level. Matt Stafford, the jury's still out on him and whether or not he's elite right now. I still think he's injured, in my opinion, but we'll wait and see. Cam Akers, is he going to show up? Who knows? Allen Robinson, can you show the fuck up for Pete's sakes? I know a few people, including me, who have you in fantasy. If you do not show up, expect a lot of freaking riots coming on your way because you're a joke if you don't freaking get some balls thrown to you. It ain't that hard to get open at your height. I digress. Then we go to the Atlanta Falcons going to the Seattle Seahawks. 0-2 Falcons. Kind of figured that they will be around here with Marcus Mariota. He's not really a starter quarterback. He's a backup quarterback, a transition quarterback in this league. Going against Geno Smith. 1-1. Okay, this is where you want to be if you're with the Seahawks with Geno Smith. It could be 2-0, but again, you lost to the Niners. It is what it is. They beat Russell in week 1. That's a good start. They beat your old quarterback, who's on a different team. I'm actually picking the Seahawks to win this one. They're at home in Seattle, the 12th man. It should be a good game. Geno seems to know what he's doing with the offense. Offense is trusting him. They're allowing him to do things that they let Russell do. We'll see what happens. I expect a lot of running in this game. I think, as of right now, I know it's a little bit out there. I think that I looked at the weather saying it's possibly going to rain this weekend in Seattle. I'll take a look at that before game time. That might determine whether or not I make a change here. Seattle should win this game. Then we have the 4:25 game, which is going to be the game, is America's game of the week. Green Bay Packers playing against the Tampa Bay Bucks. The 1-1 Packers, 2-0 Tampa in Tampa. Tampa doesn't have Godwin for this week, nor do they have Evans, who's been suspended. They also don't have, there's another player who's out. They signed Cole Beasley, okay, good slot wide receiver. Julio Jones might not play again. He's questionable, but that's Julio Jones' track record right now. He plays for one good week, doesn't show up for the next 12 because he's injured. Packers, yeah, the great comeback game. You play the crappy young team in the Bears, but hey, Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. He is their daddy. He owns them. It's not even funny. I don't expect. I'm going with the upset here. And the Pickems, the Packers are only 30% picked in this Pickem week. I'm going with the Packers to beat Tampa. Get revenge for 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game. Packers should win this one. They have the weapons. They have a better offensive line. Their defense is better. They should win this game. If Aaron Rodgers does not win it with what the hell is going on in Tampa Bay right now, I don't know what you expect from the Packers anymore at this rate. Then you have the San Francisco 49ers playing against the Broncos. I'm actually picking the 49ers to win this one. Jimmy G, hey, sorry, I send my condolences to Trey Lance. Fractured his tibia, and he also teared, I think, a ligament or a joint or some tendon in his leg. Unbelievable way to go that down. The start of your first ever season start. Or not season start, but your first ever year as a starter on the league. It's a shame, but this is the reason why they brought Jimmy back on a one-year contract, in case something like this happened. Worst case scenario, but in case it happened. Now they're in a situation where, hey, it's Jimmy G. What does Jimmy G do? He wins you games. He proved it last week. He literally, and it was getting close there for a second, but it's Jimmy G. Jimmy G wins you games. He knows his offense. He knows what he does. He knows these players. He gets them going. Russell, first home game, I think it is. No. Yeah, first home game for him. We'll see what he does in Denver. Denver is a unique place to play. Not a lot of players can hang up there because of the altitude, but I'm expecting the Niners to win this one. They just have the better chemistry when it's all said and done. This team has been together long enough. They know each other. They know what someone likes. They know where someone wants to go. Niners should win this one. I think it's going to be close, but I think Niners win. Then we have the Sunday night, that was the Sunday night game. The Monday night game, which it's hard for me to pick this one. It's the Dallas Cowboys 1-1 playing against the 2-0, surprisingly, New York Giants. Congrats to the Giants to be 2-0 so far in the year. I did not expect that out of them. Heck, I know Giants fans didn't expect that out of them. So, there's that. Dallas Cowboys, okay. 1-1 with the loss of Dak Prescott for who knows how long. We'll see. Cooper Rush did good enough to win against the Bengals. He did good enough. Now he's playing against a division rival. This is where the games matter. Can you win these division rival games without your main starter as a quarterback? This will determine a lot for the Dallas Cowboys season. Not in terms of this one game, but going forward this year for however long Dak's out. I don't know. I'm leaning towards the New York Giants in this game. But I would not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys win, because again, it's the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas somehow gets in situations where they have a chance to win, and they pull it off sometimes. Not all the time, but they sometimes pull it off. So yeah, that's what I have so far. Those are the picks for this week. For my picks, I'll re-say them again. I have upset in Cleveland winning. Even though on ESPN.com, they have the Browns favored by 5. The Pickems, they're 31%, so they're the underdogs in this case. I'm picking the Bears, the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Bills. Going with the Vikings for right now, but I have to see the report on the Lions to determine that. So I might go with the Lions. We have the Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Saints. Pending again, I have to see the reports. Chargers, I'm telling everyone, do not be surprised if the Jags win. Rams, Seahawks, Packers. Packers only because they have the better offensive line, weapons, and their defense is a lot better right now than the Tampa Bay Bucks, considering everything that's going on right now in Tampa. And then I have the Niners, and then Monday night I have the Giants. We'll see what happens we can have this week, guys. Week 2 was a horrible week for picks. I went 8-8. Haven't done that in a long, long time. I definitely need, in order for me to get better this year, guys. Hey, my goal this year for Pickems is get better than what my record last year was. I can't think of the top of my head. I think it's 178 wins and 98 losses. So I want to have a better win record. If I could get less win or more wins than losses, heck, that's a check in my book. I don't care if I come in second. As long as I have a better record, I don't care. I want to improve every year for these picks. But heck, let's see how you guys do. Everyone, good luck this week for week 3. Let me know how you're doing. And also, hey, keep me posted. I know a couple buddies of mine are in this league, and they're sending me what they think. Okay, hey, I'm thinking this way, and I'm telling them honestly. I don't try and mess with them to go with your pick, but if that's what you believe, go for it. But I've also seen a couple buddies doing some prop bets for football, for FanDuel and DraftKings. I keep an eye on those. I look at those. Don't expect me to make any this year. I just don't bet on NFL games. College basketball, a different story, but NFL games, it's hard to predict, especially with what's going on right now. But we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for coming by, and we'll see you week 4 of the NFL season with updates then. Thank you all.